Subscribe and click on the bell icon to be the first to see the latest videos.
Please welcome Satish.
Hey guys, I know it's very difficult after a good lunch to continue conversations on these boring topics, but I'm sure I'll try to engage you as best I can. Can we kind of make it more interactive rather than me making a presentation? Do you guys prefer that? Cool. So how many of you are coming from retail, transaction-oriented, operation-oriented companies? Like e-com, Paytms? Good, very, not many actually, yeah, cool. So to begin with, the topic that I've been chosen is for fintech. There's a vast definition of fintech. To me, somebody who can make a accounting system easy using technology is a fintech company. Somebody is making a payment process is a fintech company. Somebody is making an application for a banking services industry or financial services industry is a fintech company. Because we are all coming from finance background, I'm limiting my conversation more towards our day-to-day lives rather than getting into banking and financial services industry. Yeah. Thank you. So we have been hearing the word modern CFO, modern CFO. Do you guys think what we heard 5 years ago or 10 years ago about expectations from a modern CFO are the same now? I firmly believe not so, but I want to hear if there are any difference in opinions. See, what I know about a modern CFO's expectation 5 years ago are completely different today. 10 years ago, CFO's role in deploying technology, managing day-to-day business operations was almost nil, I must say. No, very less, very minimal. Today, I see CFOs spending more time in their business operation than their month-end closure and their management information reports being prepared or their engagement with the investor. So I think the expectation from the CFOs in terms of so-called modern CFOs is completely moving out of the day-to-day financial controls and just a decision support. Earlier, decision support used to be an add-on item to the financial control team. And now that becomes a basic expectation. Then what more can you add? Are you doing a cohort analysis of your customer? Are you helping me making more transactions on my platform? Are you doing any analytics, fraud? Do you guys own information security risk, or do you guys own risk management as part of your finance profiles? How many of you own risk in your jobs? Quite a few, at least, good. I'm actually struggling. I take help from my friends, my colleagues in other companies and all to kind of deploy a good risk management strategy in my organization. What we know about risk is different for a consumer services industry, is different for a manufacturing, and is different for banking. I come from HSBC for 7+ years of experience. Risk there is completely more of anti-money laundering, etc. And when I go into an FMCG industry, risk is more of a customer product kind of situation. So it differs. So shifting to the role of the CFO, this is typically used to be our day-to-day expectations as part of our CFO. Typically, we spend day-to-day accounts review, month-end closure, banking reconciliation statement. Then we close the books of account, report it to the investors, and then share information to the decision support as part of our decision support obligation to the management, and see what best we can do in terms of outcome, cost control, revenue management, and assurance practices. But when you move back into, I'm sorry if it is not very clear, I can read for you guys. When you move back into, most of our monthly tasks, weekly tasks have become real-time tasks or day-to-day tasks. Erstwhile, we probably used to do banking reconciliations once in a week or once in a month. But these days, with transactions, amounting into millions of transactions, you end up depending on the technology platforms and technology services companies to do your day-to-day reconciliations, variance analysis. How do you help your marketing and sales organizations to achieve what they wanted to achieve at the end of the day? So to me, one of the biggest shift in our lives is what so far called is monthly, weekly tasks have become daily tasks or real-time tasks. Erstwhile, if a customer need to expect a refund, probably he was okay to get a refund after 15 days or 21 days. Nowadays, customers expect real-time. They would expect a message to reach into their mobile phones saying your refund is processed on so-and-so date, and you expect to see that as a credit in your wallets or in your credit statements. So that's the change in behavior of the consumer, change in behavior of the expectations from the business. I'm sure we are adopting for it. So to me, what we used to do so far on long term has now become real time. So that's the biggest catch I'm highlighting here. And finance automation and technology is what we are going to cover now. So most of us are, these days with kind of turnovers that we make, most of us are into ERPs, which is considered to be the ultimate fintech or ultimate technology deployment for a financial professional or a finance professional. But I firmly believe whether you deal with the best of the product platforms like an SAP and Oracle, or whether you deal with the local companies like Tally, or whether you deal with the mediocre cloud-based solutions like Zoho Books, etc., everybody has got their own advantages and disadvantages. Somebody might be good in integration, but you all know how much effort it makes to enable run an SAP system in a decent size of a company. How many administrators are required, how many access controls have to be reviewed, how many licenses have to be monitored. So to me, the ERPs today are not really meeting the small and medium enterprise. Maybe it's meeting the requirements of the large enterprise, but small and medium enterprise are yet to be depending on small players, the local players, primarily the cloud solutions guys. And to recently I have done an analysis comparing with some of the US players and Indian ERPs, etc. I found, I'm not promoting their product, but I found Zoho Books much more technologically advanced. I found them much more giving what a mediocre or a SME wants rather than what a large organization can expect. So when we get into those things, what are we looking for? We need data. If you are doing whether you're dealing with a consumer transaction, whether you're dealing with large organization, data becomes very, very critical to make any decision making. So you simply dumping in information into one system doesn't get you what outcome you want. All it can give you is the data. Does the data come in the right format? Does the data gives you the outputs the way you want it? Probably you need a one-time effort in terms of designing what you want as an outcome, but is it agile enough to give you what you want on a day-to-day basis, on a real-time basis? And then two is dependency on the tech. Most of you guys would have one or two guys in your team who is a tech expert. He knows how to write a query in your system. He knows how to take a dump. Not everybody would really be able to do it. So probably improved user interface, improved ability to handle the technology platforms would probably improve our lives. And then digital technology. Who is the most influencing person in our organizations after CIO or CTO in taking a decision to move into a technology solution, whether it is a cloud, whether it is an ERP, whether it is a human capital management system, or whether it is employee expense reimburse system, whichever way. Who do you think is the most important person of the CTO or CIO? Any thoughts? After him? Right, so he is the technology head, but who else would be the most influencer in taking a technology decision in a company? I believe finance guys, CFOs and their supermasters in technology. So today, if somebody need to move on from on-premise server model to a cloud services, I'm sure in terms of the budgets, in terms of the value addition, in terms of the business case, CFOs play much bigger role than any other business head in the organization. That's what I mean here. In terms of talent, when there was a survey done some 9 or 10 months ago, 60% of the CFOs said they, including CFO, the team lacks the required talent in their ability to handle finance function efficiently. It could be they might be strong in financial knowledge, but they may be very poor in deploying technologies or using technology tools. They might be strong in both, but they might be very bad in picking the right product or right technology for meeting their needs. So deployment of fintech company solutions into organizations of ours in nature would probably solve most of our problems in the areas. How do you automate? When you kind of automate a solution, it's a typical question, right? Do you first put the processes and then deploy technology, or do you first deploy the technology and then put processes? The easiest thing is you first put processes and then probably later you choose your product and deploy it. But practical challenge is there is no day where you can say, finally saying I'm now very good at processes. It is a continuous improvement program. So if once you make up your mind as to what product has to be deployed, probably simultaneously going ahead and improving your processes and along with the deployment is what my recommendation as part of my deployment exposure. And how many of you guys are now handling banking reconciliation statements these days? Do you really think it's a big work for us? Not at all. But if you remember 5-10 years ago, for most of us, BRS used to be one of the deliverable. Is it matching as part of your financial control is to check is BRS is done, etc. Thanks to technology deployment, now it is able to do an integration, able to check transaction by transaction and throw out differences for manual interferences. Similarly, when you do transactions on Paytm, you do Amazon Pays, Google Pay, Phone Pay, whatnot, wherever you go, they are able to, and one single solution is they're able to match a transaction with one single reference number in our books of account in our transactional operating system. That number matches and your reconciliations are done. Today, 70% of the transactions in modern organizations are happening through digital payments. And there's a lot more effort being invested by e-com and transactional companies to increase this 70% into beyond 80-90% is because handling cash is the most difficult thing. There is a risk involved, there is a hasslement involved, whatnot. What is fintech? I mean, I'm sure we have all discussed. To me, any technology that help us improve our day-to-day life, any technology that help us improve our productivity, any technology that make our lives easier in terms of cost investment versus the returns on it would be the right solution, and that would be a technology solution. Fintech current future. We all hear artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data. It's a good to have word that I see in the market. Do you really think we're using those things in our finance functions? Anybody deployed AI tools, chatbots? Great. So to me, some of the areas like artificial intelligence, the gentleman said, the system checks whether the invoice number is matching or not, and system throws an error, AGAI versus AGAI. To me, deployment of that tool is nothing but artificial intelligence. You write your code once as to how it should check. It automatically crawls into the information and technology, information areas, comes out with an outcome saying, here you go, there could be a possible duplication of invoices, there could be possible wrong claims, etc. To me, that is artificial intelligence. Knowingly, unknowingly, we deploy tools. Sometimes we may not know it is so-called AI. And similarly, big data. Whatever MI that we generate out of finance books is big data. Whatever numbers that we are retrieving from our operational systems is nothing but big data. Maybe the volume is less, or maybe the transaction size is, we aren't using the tools as much as it should have been. But to me, any such solutions are big data. Similarly, business intelligence that we deploy in our SAPs and Oracle ERPs, or maybe any other ERPs. To me, that's again in a big data analytics and throwing out the dashboards. This is my most important most important slide, I must say. When we are talking about fintech companies in the market, I prefer to choose a fintech company as a partner more because they give me, they make my life easier, but also see how there could be synergies when I'm dealing with them. Imagine I'm working with, a payment solutions company who can handle my collections, who can handle my deposits, reconciliations. When I have so much information about me with that customer, and if I can do a partnership with that payment solution partner, so I choose somebody who has got better knowledge and better information. For example, I'm sure somebody from Paytm is here. We were exploring some partnership with Paytm, wherein I have the ability to choose what kind of customer, which age group, male, female, area, what transaction did they do? Did they do the healthcare transactions before on using any of the digital platforms? Using those information, I'm able to send notifications, gifts, vouchers, coupons, and then get more business from them. To me, that is a bigger synergy than simply picking somebody like a Paytm, an Amazon Pay, or a Phone Pay, or a Google Pay to check, okay, he's giving me a solution, let me pick it. I would look for who is having more transaction, who can help me with more business synergies, who can give me more cross-selling opportunities rather than simply picking whose technology is good. Whether somebody deployed a blockchain, whether somebody deployed a basic tool. maybe information security wise, I would like to be cautious, but ultimately I'm running business. So I would prefer to work with somebody who can be giving more synergies with me. In terms of the innovation, we all know Google is very well known for its innovation, be it in Apple or be it any other large companies. Probably what we do today is one way of measure. Are they innovative companies or not? Are they going to add me more solutions? Are they going to give me continuous updates? Are they going to release me continuous technology or risk management patches? So to me, it is not just a comparison of the company or the product today. It's a compare them and see what their culture is. Are they strong enough? Tomorrow, if there is imagine there is a technical hack and somebody hacks the server. What procedure do they have? Do they have a disaster recovery plans? Do they have high availability of their applications on their servers? To me, all these things matter rather than looking into are they charging me 1.8% versus 2.2%, something like that. So to me, evaluation of a fintech partners is more on a long-term basis and synergies rather than going through what is the cost-benefit analysis alone. Any questions on this slide so far? That's good. Life is easier. I think I have covered. I want to make it more interactive rather than going through the presentations. One of the fundamental challenges in today's today's partnership is integration. Today you go to say one laboratory, one hospital, one bank or one branch. Most of the times they don't talk to each other. You go to biggest of the private sector bank in India. You call to the call center. Every 2 out of 5 transactions they say please go visit the branch. You go to the hospital, you go to one branch, you go to with the same file, you go to another branch. They'll say, sorry, you have to do a register, one more registration number, one more file has to be created. It's all because integration. The organizations are not integrated well. You talk about, you take a medical report. I come from a healthcare, so I'm talking more of it. You take a medical report. You think, oh, I'm getting a digital report. Do you really think if you get a PDF, is it a digital report? To me, it is not, unless the information is stored in HN7 compliant, HIPAA compliant processes. Unless I'm able to run analytic engine in the behind and come back and tell you how the numbers of your health index is moving, to me, it's not a digital. Simply moving from paper to PDF or paper to image is not digital for us. So those are the areas where we need to kind of probably focus. So that means ultimately the whole world is waiting only for this integration to happen. Today, if you're able to integrate with your SAP, of course, subject to security layers, with your SAP to your customer or your vendor's SAP, what more do you want? You never need to do a banking balance confirmation. You never need to do payment confirmations, receipts. Automatically, everything will get accepted. It's as good as your own 2 branches will have to do a balance, right? Interbranch reconciliation. Similarly, your clients would do the same thing. So your life is going to be much more easier if you are completely moving into integrated world of financial technologies. I'm done. Maybe I'm done earlier than planned. I want to be, kind of asking. I want you guys asking me questions. I've done a lot more technology deployment than what my age is. I'm happy to help. Maybe I'm a bit faster. Yeah, please.
Yeah, my question is, do you know any fintech company who can help us in exports realization?
Foreign realization.
We know many companies who help, fintech companies who help in integration within the country.
Right.
But I'm talking about the foreign exchange realization.
Unfortunately, that area is not something that really open in the market today.
Okay.
We are struggling with integration within our own country, our own industries, but internationally it is not yet been appreciated. Anything else?
In terms of helping CXOs make decisions, better decisions,
Right.
faster decisions.
Right.
Or before I finish the question, the prelude is finance transformation or digital transformation in finance with respect to transactions like AP, AR, GL. It's been there for a while.
Right.
And now people are actually trying to do improvements over that by bot developments and bot deployments, etc. But when it comes to really pulling out information and in order to aid decision making at the CXO level, how has been your experience in terms of making a CEO or a CIO or a CHRO pull information on their own? Because most of the organizations look towards the CFO only for any kind of information.
True.
So how do we kind of automate the information that typically these business leaders, functional heads will look forward to? And is there anything, are there companies which are already even doing that?
Sure. So we always have business intelligence tools by finance module, by human capital module, etc. But to me, they are not very user friendly. To me, the user interface is not very friendly for a common man. Maybe somebody who understands technology, somebody who understands systems better can pull in some information from here and there and make one table like a pivot table. But the reality is the user interface will have to kind of mature over a period of time. I have done a platform wherein you never need to wait for your profit and loss account or your performance of a division or a leader or one geography to know what is your performance by end of the day. We have given algorithm-based, we call it artificial intelligence, it's an algorithm-based, we have set up a rule wherein information gets captured from your ERP as on that date. The remaining days, it will automatically, based on the artificial intelligence algorithm, it will automatically calculate, make provisions on that day, which is a layer above your ERP. ERP is sacrosanct in your servers, there's a layer created, and it will generate your P&L performance by geography, by line of business, by leader, whichever cuts you want. Ultimately, the database is all sitting in one system. And that dashboard that we have created is today, I must say, at a 70-80% maturity, because the users are also not very tech savvy. So they are able to drag and drop. They're not able to come and tell me what they want probably 6 months from now, what they want probably 12 months from now, because their visibility of business is also very less. Today I have 3 lines of businesses. Tomorrow suddenly some insurance industry becomes my customer. I don't know what they needed. I need 6 more months for me to kind of analyze what they want and deploy. So our ability to foresee what I need 12 months from now or 24 months from now, there are some solutions that we can look at it. But ultimately, as a finance guy, first thing what we look into is what is the cost that I'm investing versus what return would I get. I better deploy one person, do analysis and give it to my CEO rather than make him work on the dashboard. So technology, whatever language we talk, it is still not yet cheaper. A coder is much costlier than your, a coding tech. I mean, you do a coder, program management, move into UAT, production servers, etc. That makes the cost more than a qualified chartered accountant sitting and doing analytics for you dedicatedly in a corner of your office. So for larger organizations and for senior most people, probably if there is any good technology budgets, I'm pretty confident there are tools available in the market. Few are open source and few are in conversation. All we need is database access from the ERP. We know how the information is tagged in the ERP system, in the database system. You analyze. Then that work is more done by analytics specialists and number crunchers rather than done by a finance guys. But there are proven models. I can probably offline share with you how the proof of concept works in that model. Thank you.